Hi, in this video, we are going to deploy the test classification model that we built in our past video. That's a multi-class test classifier that we built on bank complaint dataset. We are going to see like how we can deploy this particular model in multiple environment. It can be using Flask, it can be using WebSockets, and it can be in multiple cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform. We will see some variant of it and also how to deploy it on a serverless environment like either AWS Lambda or Google Cloud Run. Right. So very first thing in this video, what we are going to do, it's a multi-part series. And in this video, what we are going to do is we are going to try to replicate the training pipeline and create a deployment pipeline. And why is it necessary? See, when we talk about a model deployment, it's not only the final model. You may have some pre-processing step to get to the final model. You may have some data cleaning step to the get to the final model. So you need to kind of replicate the entire activity that you are done in your training code so that you can have it in the deployment pipeline to have an apple to apple deployment, right? A like to like deployment. If you miss any of the step, then you may end up in a training deployment queue. Basically, your training pipeline is separate than deployment, and you will not be able to match or replicate your training score. So that's what we are kind of going to do here. We are going to create a pipeline. Once we have the pipeline, we know how the pipeline looks like. We will take this and we will create a Flask application in the future video, or we will create some other application to deploy it on multiple environments, right? So let's get started with this video. If you have seen my last video on test classification, basically what I did is I took an bank complaints data set. We did some data cleaning. We did some like all the typical NLP pipeline like stemming and stop word removing, and then we created TF-IDF model, and we fed the TF-IDF model into XGBoost. So whether it's going to be XGBoost, GBM, or some other model, we ran an AutoML script, and then we found out that XGBoost was performing better. So we created a final XGBoost model, and basically we assigned class weights and everything to see like which it was imbalanced data set. So we handled some imbalanced data set techniques, and then we had a final XGBoost model. Now we have two model in this. One is TF-IDF and XGBoost, and apart from that, we have some data cleaning step and everything, right? So that's what we are going to replicate. In case if you have not seen the video, you can click the link on the top and watch it, or you can see the video description comments and you can watch that video, right? What I'm doing is I'm showing two steps which was not there in that video. I am saving my TF-IDF model. The vectorizer TF was the TF-IDF model. I am using joblib package. I'm just like using joblib.dump. I am dumping the TF-IDF vectorizer to a pickle file. That is one additional step. And the second step is I'm saving my XGBoost model as a booster object. So what I'm doing, that XGBoost classifier.save model, I'm just saving it, giving a name and saving it as booster object. So I have these two files as an output from the model. But what we did is in the TF-IDF model, we did some customization. We did not use the basic inbuilt functionality of TF-IDF. We customized the tokenization method. We customized the stop word remover method. So we are going to see how we can handle it, because when we serialize that particular model, only the model parameters come in. It does not have the pre-processing step. So we have to replicate the pre-processing step as well. So I will show you as we go there. I have loaded the model in my Google Drive. That's why I have mounted my Google Drive here, and my model is in this particular location. I will also give you the link to the model in my comment in this video. You can download and you can play around. If you don't want to go to the training pipeline, you can directly use it. You can use it in my future video also, because I'm going to take the same model and deploy it. So the two model that I'm talking about is tfvectorizer.pickle. This is one model, and the second model is complaint.booster. This is XGBoost model, and this is a TF-IDF model. So I'm importing all the required packages. I am importing pandas so that we can test the model whether our deployment pipeline and training pipeline is same. We are going to use the TF-IDF vectorizer. Since I just imported it, but I don't need it here because I already have it in my pickle package, and I'm going to assign it and just transform it. But I just loaded it here. Then I have NumPy. I have regular expression for cleaning the data. I have NLTK for stop word remover and stemming. I have joblib because I dumped the model using the joblib package. I also need to load it using that package, and I have XGBoost installed. So let me run this and let me read the same file that we used in the training video. It's in my GitHub location over here. You can just copy paste the GitHub location and you can use it. I'm just doing a read CSV. It's a zip file. So I am telling like compression is basically true. Over here zip compression is zip, and then I'm just giving some other parameter which you can remove. It's a default parameter. So I have this particular data frame. I'm just going to pick some 10,000 random records out of this data frame. I don't want to use the entire data frame. So to finish this off quickly, and then what I'm doing is my basically I am renaming a column. The column basically that we are going to use, the text file is in this particular consumer complaint narrative. It's a pretty long name. So I'm just renaming the column name to complaints so that we don't have to type a longer name. So that's what I'm doing, an assignment to a complaints data frame, right? And then for the target, what happens is a multi-class text classifier. It has like total 6 classes. So these are 6 classes: debt collection, credit card, mortgage. The final model will return an integer value between 0 to 5. I need to convert that into an basically understandable classification or category, right? So I'm just creating a dictionary object. There we created basically key as debt collection 0, checking as saving as 3. When we are training the model, here we are doing the reverse. We are just taking the integer and getting the actual name of the class, right? So I'm assigning a dictionary object to a target variable. Let me quickly print the data frame, the complaints data frame that was on the top. You can see this is the text column that we are going to use to check our model. This is a target value which we'll use for the metrics comparison, like how our model is performing. We just want to make sure we are getting the same metrics that we saw during the training, right? So that's the reason I am having the target column as well. Otherwise, I'm not going to use the target column for actual inference, because when you're running it in production, you may not have the target column. You may get a value and you are predicting it, right? But this is only for deployment pipeline. Now I am downloading this 2 packages. Punkt is for tokenization and stopword. This was used during our training. I am downloading this part of the NLTK library, and then I am getting my stemmer object. I'm using the snowball stemmer and English as the language, and also I'm getting the stopwords. This is exactly what we did in the training pipeline as well. I'm just using the required methods over here. So I'll have my stopwords, I'll have my stemmer. Both are coming from NLTK. And then this is the method I was talking about. When we created a pickle of our TF-IDF vectorizer, the TF-IDF vectorizer, we used it. We did not use any of the inbuilt tokenization method or stopword method. We customized it so that we can clean the data based on our need. So if I don't, this is the function we used. This function is just copied from the training code. If I don't use this function, let me run this joblib.load of the pickle file directly, right? So when I run it, it's going to say like the tokenized method is not there. So you need to remember, when you are serializing a particular scikit-learn library, whatever the inbuilt parameters are there is only loaded. It may not load the function if you are customized it, or if you are having a custom function or a custom routine over there. So that's why I am recreating this a particular tokenized function over here, what I used over there, and then I am calling the TF-IDF vectorizer joblib.load the pickle file, so that I can get the TF-IDF order. Now it has completed, because it has found the token that we found, the function that we used. Right now, we are going to run a batch prediction. We will go to real-time prediction in the next session, but I will just show you the real-time prediction here by instance level, but we'll go into detail in the future. But now let's run a batch prediction. So what I'm going to do is, let me run this step and I will tell you. So that I'm taking the TF vectorizer object that I created on top, which is nothing but TF-IDF vectorizer. I'm calling the transform function. We did a fit in the training code. Now the parameters are learned during the fit method. Now we are using the transform method to use the learned parameter and apply to our complaints column in the complaints data frame. And finally, it will give me a transformed transformed value on the data set that we are using. So that is what it is. Just to make sure that the TF-IDF model is loaded properly, I can just get the feature names and compare it with the feature names that I got during the train. Because what TF-IDF vectorizer does is, it basically picks the top top, in our case it was top 10,000 words that was used, and assign like weights to the word, and based on incoming data it's going to assign like use that weights to do a prediction, right? So these are the words, and then I can also print the matrix that is used. So it's a six class, as I said, and you can see basically all these values are getting printed based on the text. Now I have the TF-IDF data transformed. Now I am going to load my XGBoost model. Yeah. So here what I'm doing to load the XGBoost model, I'm creating a booster object, right? So I'm telling XGBoost.booster, and I'm creating n thread equal to 4. I'm just telling like use 4 threads to run. It all depends on if you have a lot of codes, you can parallelize the tree execution, right? Only when a booster method is training, the trees are dependent. The current tree is dependent on the previous tree to reduce the error. But during deployment, every tree is independent. So you can execute in parallel, right? So I'm just telling n thread equal to 4, and I'm loading my model, which is that booster file I showed you. So it will give me the XGBoost model that I created, and then I am using that XGBoost classifier.predict method. I am using the test transfer, which is nothing but my TF-IDF vectorizer. I am calling the dmatrix method. I'm converting it into dmatrix so that XGBoost can understand. You can also try with NumPy array and everything, but I'm using the dmatrix, and then I will get the prediction output. So if you see the prediction, I will get like basically I have 6 classes. So for each classes I will get a value, and we typically take a argmax to see which is the maximum value. So maybe in this case it is pertaining to class 1 because 0.29 is the highest, right? Similarly for all. So now I got all the predictions, right? So this is for batch prediction. Now how do I do at instance level? Now for instance level, I'm going to use the same thing. Rather than passing and complete data frame, I'm just going to pass the actual text I am going to use to predict, right? In a real time, I get a text. I am just going to use the text. The TF-IDF vectorizer accepts only a list object. So what I'm doing is I am embedding in a bracket so that it treats it as a list object. And in this case, I am just going to run it. It's going to transform the data. I'm again going to call the same XGBoost method, and then it will show me the class of this particular text. It says like I have a federal student loan, and that is supposed to be a 0% interest, right? And these are all the predicted classes, and you can see the class number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 97%, right? Now we don't know what is this class, right? So that's why we created the dictionary object to know what is the class. So what I'm doing here is I'm telling that this final class, I'm taking the argmax. So argmax will take the maximum value in this particular array, right? So in this case it's 0.97. Then I'm calling the target dictionary I created. I'm just calling the get method. So when I call it, it's going to get me based on the integer value, the class value. It's going to tell me, it's telling that it's student's loan. And if you see, that's what it is about. The text is about student loan, right? Now finally, we also want to know if our model pipeline is correct. The one way to look at it is go and compare each and every score and run it in your training code and then compare it and see. The other way is, in this video, we are just going to follow a simple method of comparing the metrics, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm loading the metrics object from sklearn. I'm classification and confusion matrix, and we exactly know like how our model performed during the training, right? So here what I'm doing is, instead of the dictionary object I add like integer as my key and a value as my value, the actual name as my value. I'm just going to reverse it. So the reason I'm reversing it, because when I'm in the confusion matrix, I have to pass the actual prediction that has happened now and what my data frame value is. My data frame only has the name. It does not have an integer value, right? Because here to compare, I need the integer value. The predictions give me integer value. So that's why I'm reversing it. So I will show you what I mean by reversing it. So let me actually create one more line, and then I will just like copy this reverse target and then run it here. So it is just going to take the dictionary and flip it. So I'm kind of, if you see over here, rather than the integer as key and this as value, it has just taken the name as value, right? Here I am just reading from all this dictionary item key and value, and I am outputting as value and key. So I'm just reversing it over here. Now what I'm doing in my confusion matrix, I am taking the value, that product column, and I am mapping it to this reverse target. So it will convert this target product value that we had into integer value, so that I can run my confusion matrix. And if you see over here, this is the confusion matrix. You can go and check it out. This is pretty similar to what we got during the training model. And similarly, I'm also running the classification report over here. So this will show me how that particular model performs over. If you see the recall and all, it's around like 80 to 86% for all the classes. We know it's a pretty imbalanced data set, but we assign class weights, and that's why we got an somewhat decent model on the data, right? So this is about like building your inference pipeline, and this is key. Because you want to make sure, you want to test your model when you're deploying. You don't want to just deploy based on some assumptions. So you're just building the inference pipeline. I'm going to use a lot of this code and just plug and play in my next video into a Flask application or other modes of deploying it. This is giving me a clean code that I can use it, rather than going through tons of training code to find out what is the right pipeline. So that's about it in this video. We will go in future videos and talk in detail about model deployment. We will talk about multiple ways of deploying a model. Thank you very much.